Today, I'm revealing the ultimate Canadian ETF tier list categorized into S tier, A tier, and B tier so you know exactly where to put your money. And I'll show you how investing just $500 a month in these ETFs could grow to over $1,140,000 in 30 years. That's right, over $1 million from $500 monthly. Let's start with our S tier ETFs. These are the absolute best of the best, the foundation of any successful Canadian portfolio. And first up, we have VFV, the Vanguard S&P 500 Index ETF, which is the gold standard for the US market exposure with an ultra low management expense ratio of just 0.08%. And what most Canadians don't realize is that VFV has delivered an average annual return of around 12.5% over the past decade, significantly outperforming most actively managed funds and the Canadian market itself. It gives you instant ownership in global giants like Apple, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. And to show you the power of compounding returns, $10,000 invested in VFV 10 years ago would be worth approximately $32,500 today. That's a 225% increase versus just 85% for the average Canadian equity fund. VFV is best for long-term growth investors wanting exposure to American innovation. The main drawback is that it lacks Canadian exposure, missing that favorable tax treatment for Canadian dividends. And very quickly, I've noticed that over 80% of you viewers who watch this channel aren't subscribed. So if you find this content valuable, hitting that subscribe button is an easy way to support the channel and help me create more videos like this. And I'll personally commit to you and everyone watching to continue to create genuinely helpful content for everyone watching this video. All right, next in our S tier is XEQT or VEQT, the revolutionary all-in-one ETFs that offer globally diversified 100 equity solutions with automatic rebalancing. The staggering simplicity of these ETFs is that they give you exposure to over 9,000 stocks worldwide in a single purchase with an ultra-low MER of just 0.2%. XEQT contains approximately 47% US stocks, 25% international, 23% Canadian, and 5% emerging markets. VEQT is similar, but with about 30% Canadian exposure. What makes these revolutionary is that with just one purchase, you literally own a piece of every significant public company on the planet. From Canadian banks to Japanese electronics manufacturers to Brazilian mining companies. These are best for beginners and those wanting maximum simplicity. The main drawback is that they're 100% equity, which means higher volatility during market downturns. Now completing our S tier is XIC, the iShares Core S&P TSX Composite Index ETF, which is the ultimate in Canadian market exposure with incredibly low fees of 0.06%. The tax advantage that most advisors won't clearly explain is that Canadian dividends are eligible for the dividend tax credit, which means higher income earners can pay nearly 50% less tax on Canadian dividends versus foreign dividends. For someone earning $100,000 or more, a $1,000 Canadian dividend might only be taxed at around 15% versus around 30% for foreign dividends. XIC is the perfect companion to VFV, creating a powerful North American portfolio base. It's best for all Canadian investors wanting domestic exposure and dividend tax efficiency. The main drawback is its heavy concentration in financial and energy sectors, which limits diversification. Now, let's move on to our A tier ETFs, which are excellent options that just miss the highest tier for specific reasons, but serve important roles in your portfolio. First in our A tier is XBB, the iShares Core Canadian Universal Bond Index ETF, which offers fixed income stability with an MER of just 0.1%. What many investors don't understand about bonds is their stabilizing effect during market crashes. During the 2008 crash, when the stocks plummeted, Canadian bonds actually delivered positive returns. This inverse correlation makes bonds valuable for reducing overall portfolio volatility. For retirees taking withdrawals, bonds provide stability when stocks are down. XBB is best for conservative investors, retirees, and those valuing capital preservation over growth. The main drawback is the limited growth potential, with bonds historically returning around 4 to 5% annually compared to 8 to 10% for stocks. And next up in our A tier is XEC, the iShares Core MSCI Emerging Markets ETF, which gives you exposure to rapidly developed economies with a MER of 0.26%. And the future growth potential here is tremendous. By 2030, Asia alone is predicted to represent 60% of the global middle class consumption. XEC tracks approximately 1,200 companies across more than 20 emerging market countries, providing access to the world's fastest growing economies like China, India, and Brazil. It is best for growth-oriented investors looking to capitalize on developing economies with expanding middle classes. The main drawback is higher volatility due to currency fluctuations, political instability, and regulatory changes. And now let's look at our B tier ETFs. These are solid options for more specific needs. First in our B tier is VUN, the Vanguard US Total Stock Market ETF, which offers broader exposure than VFV, including mid-cap and small-cap stocks. The small-cap advantage is that VUN covers over 4,000 companies versus VFV's 500. Historically, small caps have delivered an additional 1 to 2% annual return over decades. VUN has an MER of 0.16%, still cost effective though higher than VFV's 0.08, and it's best for investors who believe in small cap growth potential and want maximum US diversification. The main drawback is added volatility and its recent underperformance compared to large cap focused VFV. And the last ETF in this B tier is XEI, the iShares S&P TSX Composite High Dividend Index ETF, which offers a substantial yield of around 4.5% paid monthly. Why retirees love this ETF is its monthly dividend schedule, unlike the quarterly payments from many other ETFs, plus the favorable tax treatments of eligible Canadian dividends. It holds approximately 75 dividend-paying companies across sectors like financials, energies, and utilities. XCI is best for retirees and income-focused investors needing regular cash flow, making it an A tier for retirees, but a B tier for younger investors. The main drawback is its concentration risk, potential underperformance during growth markets when lower dividend growth stocks typically lead performance. Now, let me give you two simple $1 million portfolio strategies. Strategy 1 is the one ETF solution going all in on XEQT or VEQT for absolute simplicity. Why this works so well is that one purchase gives you global diversification across thousands of companies with zero maintenance. You just keep buying them monthly. The automatic rebalancing is handled for you, and the approach has historically outperformed about 80% of actively managed funds over long periods. Strategy number 2 is the 3 ETF portfolio with 70% VFV, 20% XIC, and 10% XCC, similar to my personal core allocation. The powerful advantage here is a weighted average MER of just 0.11% versus 0.2% for XEQT, which means more of your money stays invested and working for you. With this approach, $500 invested monthly over 30 years could grow to approximately $1,140,000. And for those wanting more stability, you could just adjust 70% VFV, 50% XIC, 10% XCC, and 5% XBB. This would give you slightly reduced expected returns, but decreased volatility, still reaching approximately $1,025,000 over 30 years with $500 monthly. And watch these two videos for more Canadian investing strategies. Bye guys.